Okay, finding change in salary. All right. So we got two more problems left, and then we'll talk about the lab itself, and then should be done. Staple it. All right. Bill's new salary is $15 an hour. He found out that this is a 2% bump up from last year. So what was last year's salary? Okay, so what you can do is you can adjust the tax formula to accommodate this. All right, so you can adjust the tax formula to fit this. So what I'm going to put instead of total cost and tax, I'm going to put we'll put new is equal to the old one plus the percent of the old one. Okay. So we know the new one was $15 an hour. The old one, we don't know. We'll call it X. Call it X. And we know that it's a 2% bump of the old one. Okay. So, going back, all the way back in your notes to the first time that we did sales tax without the formula. Okay. When we did sales tax without the formula, here's what we said. All right. That was all the way back in last week's notes, percent lab 1, which I had pulled up this morning. For some reason, it may have vanished. But anyway. Okay. So remember when we talked about the headphones? And we're looking right here at this part. You were buying a set of headphones at 8% tax. And they want to know how much you were going to pay. And we said one way to look at it was you're paying 100% of the price of the headphones plus the 8% tax. So you're really paying 108% of the price of the headphones, right? Same situation here with the salary. Okay, so with the salary, so with the salary, we're going to say, okay, so this X, that's 1X, right? We saw that a little bit earlier with the discount. This is 1X here. What's 1 times 100? 100X. In this case, it'll be 100% X plus 2% of X. So then you put those together. Okay? So this new salary that he's on of $15 is actually 102% of his old salary. All right, it's 102% of his old salary. So now we take the percent, oops, blocked out for the online folks. Let me fix that. Yeah, so his new salary of 15 is equal to 102% of his old one. So now we take the percent and make it a decimal. We got 15 equals 1.02x. And then to find x, divide both sides by 1.02. And then since x is his old salary, what was it? If you divide 15 by 1.02, what was his old salary? 1470? Was it 1470 or 1471? Right, yeah, it would be 1471. I know it may not matter to y'all, but as an employer, it matters because it adds up. All right, so he got a raise of 29 cents an hour. That's about how it goes sometimes. for the longest time, most raises were an extra quarter an hour.
I got a $2 raise for I worked at after
Yeah, yeah. It takes a while. Yep. And see, back years ago, this was pretty common. Now it might be $1 or $1 and a couple of cents or something like that. But yeah, for this particular place of business, or however you're running your store, as the case may be, raise them up 29 cents to get into $15 an hour. Any questions about that one? Anybody need to get a picture of it? Again, there is a picture of it already in Moodle if you want that one. It's just me that took it, so I'm taking it like this and it's off to the side. All right. Oh, shoot. Nope, not erasing. One of these days, I'm going to hit that button. Go ahead, erase. Okay. So calculating overtime. This one's broke up into two parts. Now, this one does not have a formula. Well, this one is not provided because you have to build it. All right, this is more of an algebraically based situation because you're going to have to build the formula based off of the problem. All right, let's read the problem. Robbie currently makes $20 an hour and gets time and a half for all hours over 40 that he works in a week. He worked 46 hours last week, so how much did he take home? All right, so you have to break this up because read it again. He makes $20 an hour and then gets time and a half for all hours over 40 that he works in a week, and he worked 46 total. What percentage would you say time and a half is? What? 150%. Good. Right. So in this case, not all hours are created equal. So you've got to split it up. So the $20 an hour gets multiplied by how many hours? 40. Good. All right. And then he gets added time and a half for all hours over 40 that he works in a week. So this is where it gets a little ugly. So we're going to use a bracket, okay? Because for one thing, he gets 1.5 times 20. That's the ugliest 20 I think I've ever written in my life. So he gets 1.5 times 20, and then that gets multiplied by how many hours he worked. Extra, which was how much? 6. Yeah. So 1.5 times 20 times 6, and then close your bracket. Okay. So now it is a super ugly order of operations problem. All right. Don't even worry about the 20 and 40 just yet. Okay. Because the first thing we got to take care of is these brackets and parentheses over here. So go ahead and figure out what 1.5 times 20 is. All right, who else got 30? All right, good. All right, so it's going to be 30 times the 6 hours. Okay. So now, since you've got multiplying and adding on the same line, you can do both of your multiplying parts on the same step. So the total now is going to be equal to what's 20 times 40? 800. Good. And then what is 30 times 6? 180. Right. 180. I heard a 120 in there somewhere, and I just want to make sure that I wasn't hearing things. What's yeah. Okay, so the total of this, 800 and 180, that's going to be $980, right? Now, question. Do you get to take home all of what you make when it's your rate times your hours?
No,
Right. You don't. I just heard one person say tax really softly. And I heard no.
that was me.
Well, if you're a contractor, you have to pay after.
Right. Yeah. But I don't know. I just got tickled because that'd be something that I would do. It actually reminds me of the first time that I saw deductions come out of my check, and I was like, flabbergasted. Right. The 980. That is called your gross pay. Okay. Your gross pay is your wage times your hours, right? But you have things that get held out. Someone said taxes, and then you've also got retirement, Social Security. You might have something going into savings. Okay, so does everybody have this copy down, by the way? Okay, so that leads us into the next part. Remember the 980. So, after Robbie found out how much he was going to make after his overtime, he remembered that he gets 30% of his check held out for various fees, like we said, tax, retirement, could be going into savings. So knowing this, how much did Robbie really take home? Okay, so it's your gross from the last slide. What was the gross from last slide? 908. Good. Okay. Now, gross is how much you make, and then after everything comes out of it, you have something called your net pay. Your net is your gross minus your deduction percentage. Okay. So to find your net pay, the net is going to be equal to, we'll call it the gross minus the percent of the gross. I don't know why they call it gross. Maybe yeah, either that or the employers were like, they're making that much? Ugh, gross. That's the kind of stuff that makes my daughter laugh. And she's 9, so that's why it ballooned itself. All right, so your gross from a while ago is 980. And he's getting 30% taken out. Okay. So what's 30% of 980? To what? 294? Anybody else get 294? Okay. So 980 minus 294 comes out to be how much? 686. Or a couple places. So that's how much he really takes home after doing that overtime. That's probably weekly, I would say. Nobody's going to live off of that monthly. All right. So this was a two-parter, okay? So you figured out how much you made total with his overtime, which is called his gross. And then defined his net, which is how much his gross was after his deductions. You take the percent, subtract it. By the way, this is really just which formula again? Old discount, right? Just the old discount formula. Use it more than anything else, right? Okay, so real quick, got a few more minutes. Let's look at your lab that opened up today. Couple of things, don't forget, we got some overlapping due dates here. So remember, your percent lab 1 is due tomorrow night. Okay? Look, I know good and well what tomorrow night is. I don't care. If you want to have time to do whatever you're going to do tomorrow, get it turned in early. So make sure you get that turned in. A couple of you already have. Okay, so Percent add 2. Somebody say what's tomorrow.
Oh, I know what. It took me a second.
Jonathan knows what tomorrow is. He finally figured out what a discount was. You did. You did.
I feel like you're gonna bully him. But, well,
Nah, I've known Jonathan longer than anybody else in here except for Courtney. So
I'll be on my deathbed, but I got it. Discount.
and they'll be like, "That's right, Pop, because we got a discount on your coffin." All right, so in here, so in here, got screenshots. Like I said, here's the formulas, and then here are the screenshots from this morning. All right, so I went ahead and instead of making them a folder, I just made them to where you could see them, pretty pointingly. All right, so these are due the 21st. All right, these are due the 21st. I try to give you 8 days to get stuff done. When we start getting down to it, though, here in a couple of weeks, may not be able to do that, but we'll see. So real quick, let's look at the actual critical thinking lab. I think I already actually had it pulled up. Yep, I did. Okay, so if you can't see this, just pull it up on your computer. Let me do this. Oh, that didn't help. Okay, so on this, you've got several situations where you use the discount formula. Most of them, you're using the discount formula to find the original price, original cost, wholesale price, whatever you want to call it. You got some salary questions in here, okay? You got 2 here. Number 3, though, is percent increase. So don't forget percent increase. That was at the beginning of the PowerPoint. 4, finding last year's cost and everything. Wholesale price, same type of stuff. All right. Oh, I thought something was wrong with 4, but no, we're good. All right. So a lot of finding original price. 7, you got some markup. In fact, on 7, you're finding the percent of markup. 8 is the one that we just looked at. Okay. And then 9, wholesale price has a markup of 315%. What's the retail? Then 10, store buys a part for 43, sells it for 115. What's the percent markup? So I would say you probably got the most find the original price problems out of anything. Least would be salary. No, least would be percent of increase or percent decrease. Then next would be salary and percent markup. And tax is kind of just like sprinkled in there, here and there. Again, remember, you can adjust these formulas depending on how you need them. We use the tax formula for salary, right? We are going to look at these again on Wednesday. So between now and Wednesday, you need to make sure that you at least attempt it. You don't have to turn it in between now and Wednesday. In fact, I would advise against turning it in between now and Wednesday, because if you turn it in, then we look at it on Wednesday, then you realize that you made a boo-boo, then you're stuck if you've already turned both parts of them in. Okay. All right. Any last questions? All right. Have a good day. I get to go pressure wash reports.